This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this day, June the 11th, in the year 1950, Ben Hogan won the U.S. Open. You may be thinking, yawn, Ben Hogan winning the U.S. Open? How's that big? Well, what if I told you that Ben Hogan, well, it was called the Miracle at Marion in Marion, Pennsylvania. But what if I told you that Ben Hogan actually suffered a massive setback in his personal life, that his win in 1950 was huge? I'll get to that later. Anyway, so the 1950 U.S. Open was the 50th in history. Ben Hogan, who won the 1948 championship, won the second of his 4 U.S. Open titles in a 18-hole playoff with Lloyd Mangrum and George Fazio, making it the 4th major title. Lee Mackey hit a 64 in the first round, which was a new tournament record, but then had an 81. Nobody beat that 64 until 1973 when Johnny Miller had a 63 in the final round of the U.S. Open. This was the second time Marion had hosted the U.S. Open. 1934 it happened, and that was when Ben Hogan ironically made his U.S. Open debut. He missed the 36-hole cut by 3 strokes. But you know what? Didn't matter. All that. So anyway, you had the 1948 champion Ben Hogan, the 1946 champion Lloyd Mangrum, the 1949 champion Curry Middlecoff, and the 1922 and 32 champion Gene Sarazen. They were the only 4 past champions, U.S. Open champs, to make the field, to make the cut. Missing the cut were Tommy Armour, the 1927 champion, the 1936 champion Tony Monaro, the 1940 champion Lawson Little, the 1941 champion Craig Woods, the 31 champion Billy Berg, the 1947 champion Lou Worsham, and the 1928 champion Johnny Farrell. So after 1 round, Hogan was not in the chase. It was Lee Mackey with hit 64 at 6 under par. Al Broche was second with 3 under par. Skip Alexander and Julius Burrows were at 2 under. Mackey was amazing. He birdied 4, he birdied 7, birdied 8, 11, 13, and 15 and 18, but he bogeyed 17. But his second round just sucked, and he was out of the race. Hogan was chasing. He was from a 72, he had a 69. He was only 2 strokes behind Dutch Harrison halfway home. Julius Burrows, Johnny Bola, and Jim Ferrier from Australia were tied for second. In the third round, well, the thing is, they played a morning and afternoon 18 holes and all that. And Sunday would be the playoff. So June 10th, in the morning session, after the morning session, Hogan was at 3 over, 2 strokes back of Lloyd Mangrum, with Dutch Harrison second. So after a 72, Mangrum looked good and all that. But in the end, Hogan put up a 74. Mangrum struggled, getting 6 bogeys in the first 7 holes. He got at 287 like Hogan. And so did George Fazio. So anyway, Hogan made a famous approach shot to get into the playoff with Mangrum and Fazio. So anyway, Hogan didn't make any birdies, which was weird. Mangrum did, but Mangrum completely faltered. After his birdie on 3, he had 5 bogeys in his last 15 holes without a birdie. Fazio had 3 birdies and 3 bogeys. So anyway, it was the playoff. 18-hole playoff. Top scorer wins. Otherwise, we have a playoff, a sudden death playoff. Ben Hogan just crushed it. He put up a 1 under par to beat Mangrum, who had a 3 over par, and George Fazio plus 5. So anyway, Ben Hogan won the title in 1950. But there was a career-threatening accident. The previous year, in 1949, after losing in a playoff at the 1949 Phoenix Open, Ben Hogan and his wife were driving home to Fort Worth. Unfortunately, they had a head-on collision with a Greyhound bus east of Van Horn, Texas. In February 1949, Hogan reduced his speed in the limited visibility ground fog, and the bus was attempting to pass another vehicle on a narrow bridge and couldn't avoid the crash because of the bridge. Hogan threw himself across Valerie to protect her, and the steering column punctured the driver's seat of their Cadillac sedan. He would have been killed if he hadn't attempted to throw himself across Valerie. Hogan, at age 36 in 1949, had a double fracture of the pelvis, a fractured collarbone, a left ankle fracture, a chipped rib, and near-fatal blood clots. He would actually have circulation problems and physical limitations. His doctor said he may never walk again, let alone play golf. He was in the hospital in El Paso and had blood clot problems. And it took 2 months after the accident to leave the hospital and went to Fort Worth by train. Somehow, in some way, Ben Hogan regained his strength by simply walking and resumed golf by November 49. He would return to the PGA Tour and start the 1950 season. So it was just amazing and all that. His stuff and all that. He had one of the most pure swings in history. And can you believe it? That Ben Hogan would win 5 more majors after the 1950 U.S. Open. It's amazing. This guy went through hell with his accident. And remember, this is 1949. This is not when there were more safety features by a car. But he saved himself. He protected his wife from harm. He got hurt in the process, and 2 months later, he had to come out of the hospital. But then he resumed everything. He was back to normal. Man, what a comeback story. One of the best ever. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.